Hey there, Eli here, and you might be wondering why did this video start with a low quality video of my dog Zelda? Well, it's because she is the reason that this video is so late. And this is not anything against her. She tore her CCL, which is effectively a human's ACL, and so she had to go to surgery. And she is recovering. That's her just snoring away, sleeping on a lot of medications and trying to get better. So this is the video of my leveling up for the first day and second day of the league. I realize now today is Tuesday, so it's day 5 of the league. And so we're a little bit behind schedule, but I just wanted to make a video and talk about first impressions and how the league leveling went. We went with a Ignite starter with Fireburst, which is the skill that comes from using an essence of Hysteria on a weapon. It allows you to trigger Fireburst off of any time that you hit, either with a spell hit like Stormbrand, which is what we use, or Herald of Thunder, or a melee attack, or anything like this. Any kind of hit will trigger this spell. So, what we're doing here in the background, just a sped up version of going through the campaign. As you can see, I went with Fireball because I wasn't really thinking. Fireball isn't really the direction we wanted to go with this build, but I went with Flame Wall and Fireball, and it all kind of worked. And right here, you can see let's go back for a second here. Let's rewind that for a minute, and let's take a look. So what happened there is we beat Act 9, and then we went into Scourge mode area, Hell, and then teleported back because it reverts you back to where you were after we get shoved out of the anus into the next act. And then we were kind of stuck, but then we thought, oh, we should check the waypoint, and lo and behold, Act 10 was available through the waypoint, so we didn't break our characters, which was fun. So, anyway, you can do that. Probably the same thing with Temporal Rift, you could do that too. Go back in time. Anyway, I digress. We're now on maps, and things weren't going too well in tight quarters. We had Arcanus Brand with Wave of Conviction, trying to proc Elemental Equilibrium and Exposure at the same time. And it kind of worked, and it kind of didn't. And we didn't have a Curse on Hit for Flammability, so I was self-casting that. As you can see here, I'm just wandering around, mostly just using Flame Wall because it was the highest damaging skill that I could consistently keep myself safe with. So it was kind of a pain. And, keep in mind, this is after many hours of just straight playing, so my brain wasn't super working that well. And as you can see, the boss fight here on the Corruptor kind of takes a little while. It's kind of safe, kind of not. I haven't really looked at my flasks yet. And then I think, oh, why don't I just go with Magma Orb? This is way safer and way more consistent, and I can actually use that to move through Scourge mode and set up a flame wall, throw balls, run through the flame wall, so anything behind me has to run through the flame wall and get dotted down, and then just repeat that process and just keep going with Magma Orb, Flame Wall, Magma Orb, Flame Wall, over and over. It's working. We are an Elementalist, so everything ignites on hit, and so that's cool, but then you get into these close quarter situations where you get overwhelmed, and it didn't really have any defensive layers to speak of. So I'm just sitting there with 3,300 hit points and 520 energy shield, but it's really not much. It's really no defensive layer, not a lot of hit points, even though we're resist capped, of course. Either I dodge and set up my positioning properly, or I get killed. So didn't feel great, didn't feel good. But we kept moving through, and eventually I got to grind up enough currency to buy an essence of Hysteria. And after trying and failing to chrome the staff into the right colors, I got something that is workable and usable. The staff itself, when I used Essence of Hysteria, it really was garbage tier, which is unfortunate, but, beggars can't be choosers at the start of the league. The long and short of it was, we were dying a lot, and eventually got enough currency to make the Fireburst staff, and once we did that, everything kind of changed for the better. So we picked up Stormbrand in order to get a little bit more control, and At this point, I was still using clarity. I thought I needed to. More accurately, I just wasn't thinking about it. You know, I was progressing through maps now. I was destroying these low tier maps without an issue. So I was like, well, it's working. Don't fix what isn't broke. And so we went on with that for a little while, and that was working just fine. We ran into a Scourge boss, and it deleted us. I didn't really know what to expect. So I decided, all right, we're using a staff. We need to get some block. So you can see here on the defensive pane, we went up to 46 attack block, 33 spell block, and that helped a lot to increase our effective hit point pool. We're up to 4,300 hit points now with still around 500 energy shield. We're killing the Conquerors without really an issue, as dot builds tend to do, and the thing worked. You know, Fire Burst was working. The staff itself has no modifiers to help it except for +2 to fire gems, which is helpful on a couple of the support gems, but it's not a lot of damage. It's nothing like having fire damage over time multiplier or damage over time crafted on it. Nothing like this. So the staff is terrible, but the build works. And that's kind of where we left it for the end of day 2, where we had our 3rd tier ascendancy. So we had our convergence, and we had Shaper of Flames. And so everything is igniting, and we're killing most of the stuff into tier 6-ish maps, just building up the Atlas and getting our objective bonus up. And I will be making a video on the new Atlas and, you know, the leapfrog method and kind of what the changes mean for that. So look out for that. And yeah, in the meantime, I'm going to continue recording and continue going through my gameplay and creating videos like this. Just a short update to let you know how we're doing. I don't want to take up this video's time with talk about the Scourge mechanic. I will just say I think there are ways to make it worth your while, but I don't see it right now as a means to generate a lot of currency consistently. There are more angles for it to be kind of calculated gambles, where either your item is worth the same or maybe a little bit less or maybe just a tiny bit more. And in some cases you could get it so it is crangled to the 3rd degree, where you get some awesome modifier on a unique or maybe a rare armor that's already decked out. I don't know yet. There's still a lot of things to explore on that, so stay tuned for thoughts on how to make use of the Scourge mechanic. As a little teaser, right now I've found to scan over the drops that you get from Scourge Drops that are already Scourged, like tier 2 Scourged in maps. Just glance over them. If they aren't good base stats on the item itself, you don't really need to bother looking at the Scourge modifiers, because the item itself has to be good already, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good the item is. if the base has nothing, whatever the positive is not going to be good enough to outweigh bad rolls on the item itself. So that's kept my sanity up a little bit, so I'm not actively stopping and looking at all these rares like in depth, like reading through the Scourge modifiers saying, okay, is this good, is this bad? Doesn't matter. Is the item good? No? Move on. Pretty simple. So anyway, this is a lot of talking. Quick, fast-paced video. Just wanted to let everyone know kind of where we're at, and that yes, there is a reason why videos haven't been coming out, and Zelda is recovering. She should be fine in a few months with physical therapy and recovery and all this stuff. So she should be all right, and we will get some more videos out to you soon. As always, this is Eli signing off.